welcome to the Copper Fox Tavern, where we review Homebrew for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I'm your host, Thomas, the Human Bard. Joining me as always is my co-host, Mercy, the Tiefling Wizard.
Hello!
Joining us this week are our regular guests, Onog, the Half-Orc Barbarian.
Hello.
And Bean, the Rock Gnome Rogue.
Hello. I like that tongue twister.
Rock Gnome Rogue.
Yes.
Rock Gnome Rogue. Take me home.
I don't want to get content ID'd on the first outing, guys.
What are you talking about? That's not anything else.
Rogue, the Rock Gnome Rogue. The Rogue down in the
That's at least public domain.
Rogue, your gnome.
Yes, very good, thank you.
Down the D&D.
So here in the tavern, we like to see what recent homebrews there are for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. We all play Dungeons & Dragons, and we enjoy seeing what kind of creative things people come up with in the Dungeons & Dragons community. So we've all brought something that we've found, and we're going to share them with each other and speak about maybe some of the interesting or funny elements of those homebrews. Is that fair to say, Mercy?
I think that is fair to say.
Thank you.
I thought we were going to fight each other. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, that's next week's episode.
I'm going to put this giant broadsword
We end
away.
this episode with rolling initiative.
Got it.
But it is just audio, so you'll just hear, like...
So I'll start off...
That was really good beatboxing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
I'll start off our episode this week with the homebrew that I found, our magic item of the week.
Ooh.
Yes. This is, it comes from an Instagram account from @bonus_action, who makes a lot of great magic items. I would recommend checking out his Instagram account. And it is called the Lock Crawler. It is a magic item. It is a rare tiny construct, requires proficiency with thieves' tools, and the description reads as Tiny Thief. This arcane-powered bug is unable to unlock most mechanical locks.
I think you said is unable to unlock.
Is unable? Is able. It can do it.
I just wanted to clarify, because I was about to start off and say, well, this seems like a really bad magical item.
It's unable to lock most
It's a key
locks.
that doesn't work.
Yeah. You can spend a bonus action to activate it and order it to do so. The crawler has a movement of 10 feet and is able to climb vertical surfaces, it cannot carry anything. When unlocking a lock, roll a d20. On a 1, the crawler makes a fatal mistake and gets crushed by the lock mechanism.
Oh no.
Oh.
Any subsequent rolls to attempt to pick this lock are made with disadvantage. Because all the
It's all gummed up by your friend.
your little bug friend is all in the lock now.
No.
I thought this was adorable. I just like number 1 adjective. Adorable. Look at this.
He's VQ.
Well, one thing that I'm immediately seeing is how much we have imprinted on this little guy, and we don't know anything about him. We haven't played with him.
As soon as you see him.
Yeah. And just the
That's
word
really good art.
fatal mistake, we all went, oh no. So it's really fun. I appreciate that it says he cannot carry any, or it. I'm giving it a gender already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
come on.
It's just a mechanism.
That's a good sign that we already associate with
but that's
it so
what I'm
much.
saying is that
you know?
I am trying
yeah.
to imprint some kind of personality onto it.
Definitely.
But it says it can't carry anything because I know I would do this. I would be like, oh, but it's okay because I sent my
bug to go
lock
get the
picking
boy.
bug
Yeah.
to just go bring me that coin. It's fine.
Gemstone.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, he goes in his pocket and gets the key out
Yeah.
and brings it back to me. And yeah, I appreciated that. There's a couple just tiny things in it that make it feel balanced enough that I probably allowed in the game I was playing. It requires proficiency with thieves' tools. So it's not really going to be that different than thieves' tools.
It is interesting because, for example, if you are an arcane trickster, you could kind of achieve a similar thing with Mage Hand by sending Mage Hand out with your thieves' tools, because that's one of the main reasons as an arcane trickster to get Mage Hand.
Yeah.
Because you can very silently do that. However, this is really nice because if you're a rogue like me that isn't an arcane trickster, you lose that ability to like pick locks from afar, but this solves that problem.
It's only 10 feet, which I think is a fair enough distance. You can't send it down the entire hallway.
Yeah.
But it is that you can still maybe stand guard at the corner while the lock is picked.
I mean,
I think this is a good tool also for a more charismatic rogue too, because it's a range of 10 feet, so you could be like smooth talking the guard and just distracting him while right behind him the safe is being unlocked.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a question mechanically about this. It just says if it rolls, roll a d20 on a 1, it makes a fatal mistake. On another thing, does it automatically succeed at picking the lock?
I think it says, it says on most mechanical locks. So I think if it's a magical lock of any sort, your DM has
Then
the ability to say it's unable to lock
can't
it.
do it.
Yeah.
But it's like most
There's no
locks you
process.
would encounter in a regular campaign.
So basically,
it should just unlock them. But that's why it's a rare.
it's a
magic
rare thing that just 19 out of 20 times is going to unlock that lock,
Yeah.
but
1 out
might
of
just
20.
crush itself.
And then you've lost it as well as making the lock
More difficult.
more difficult.
So then, a question I have about it is, it says that you do have to have proficiency with thieves' tools, but it doesn't necessarily talk about
In what way that
how.
interacts.
Yeah, it just says you
Yeah.
can spend a bonus action to activate it and order it to do this. But if it's
So,
doing
yeah.
it for you,
Mhm.
why do you? I'm not arguing. I like the idea of it's just sort of a slight extension of your thieviness. That's cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But how? Like, do you have a telepathic connection with it, or telepathic?
Like, does
yeah.
it require your knowledge of locks to function?
Yeah, is
basically,
it that you are rolling and this is just an extension of you, or do you command it? Because part of, I would almost argue that if it's just doing it for you, you wouldn't need thieves' tool proficiencies. Like, anyone could just have this little bug that goes out
In
and
fact,
picks.
yeah, it would be
locks for them.
more beneficial to you as a character if you didn't. If it was
Didn't.
for something you
Right.
couldn't already do.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like, for instance, like you were saying, like, if an arcane trickster found this item, I can already do that, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But if a barbarian found this and goes, hey, maybe there's something to not breaking down the door every time and sending in the little guy.
Yeah.
Like, maybe, though, it would make sense if you have a little earpiece or something that you are somehow subconsciously activating the bug. That would make sense as
Or
to
if it-
why your abilities play into it.
It could perhaps, instead of as a bonus action to activate, perhaps as an action, you, as the rogue, with your own thieves' tools, you wind it up or something along those
Mhm.
lines, and you give it commands to walk 10 feet this way, 5 feet this way, 1 feet this way. You almost
Yeah.
program it ahead of time, and that's why it needs
That would
that
be cool.
technical prowess.
Uh-huh.
That would maybe feel more flavorful with the
Yeah.
thieves' tools proficiency.
I think it either needs to be that your skills play into it heavily, or they don't really play into it at all.
And it's just a fun friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think on that note, it's very important to note that if it had a little like wind up key in its back, it would be even cuter.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's a fair point.
I think for that reason that you should have
Oh,
to
that
wind
would
it
be
up.
so cute.
You know-
It would be so cute.
What could be fun?
This art is very good.
What
Whoever
could-
did this,
Yeah.
do we know who did the
Yeah,
art?
at bonus_action.
Mhm.
He's on Instagram. He does a lot of these actually, and I'll probably bring some.
And then they do the art as well?
Yeah.
I think it's really important noting the description on the actual Instagram post
Yeah.
is invented some time ago by a gnome artificer in the West, so I really appreciate
Representation.
the representation
That's fair.
there. Allegedly,
Here
the
we go.
gnomish mob got rid of her after she supplied them with the blueprints. So I don't know.
Oh boy.
They couldn't have her making them for other people.
Yeah, I mean, but with
Mm.
that backstory, I would almost like the idea that this is a much rarer item. And,
Maybe even very rare.
well, what's fun is if you played off of that as a DM, if you had one of these and you ran into the gnomish mob and they saw you with one, that could be just a really fun throwaway.
That's fair.
Like,
yeah.
oh, someone just
Yeah.
buys this at a market or they find it and they don't think it's a big deal, and then they get, like, involved in the gnomish mob.
Could you imagine if it could make little squeaking sounds?
Just if its little gears
Yeah, yeah.
squeaking.
But picture this: you're a rogue, you're in a dungeon, and you go to pick a lock, and this boy just comes out of it,
Mm-hmm.
and your party finds it by it's just been living in there for a while. Something happened where it went to
Aw.
go pick the lock, and its previous owner was accosted by a wandering monster, and now it's got nowhere to go, so it's just been waiting there. And you go to pick it, and you find him, and now you don't know his past, and so you go bump into the gnomish mob, and
Yeah.
oh no,
Totally.
And they see that you have one of these things. It's like, hey, where'd you get that?
yeah,
The
I-
gnomish mob is from New Jersey.
Yes, actually.
that's correct.
How did you
That's
know?
what it says in the player's handbook.
Jersey,
Yeah.
New Jersey, NEUGHERSY.
Oh no, I don't like this already.
You're hurting me.
That's
Stop.
guys. This is a famous gnomish colony.
Yeah, isn't Jersey the ancient gnomish homeland?
Mhm. And so when we had to migrate, we built New Jersey.
Yeah.
That's correct.
I imagine that if someone in your party had this, it would be almost better than a pet because it's not quite sentient. And I imagine that so many different members of the party would just go around stealing this from each other. Like, someone's like, I send out my lock crawler, and the guy's like, before it gets to the lock, I just grab it. he's mine now.
I own him now.
I
Yeah,
own
He
there's
answers
the
to me.
cuteness factor does kind of devolve party relations at a certain point.
Unless you can all, as adults,
agree to love it
that we all love it
equally.
equally.
We all know that D&D is a game that exemplifies grown people behaving like grown people.
Yes, very mature
and never once
responsible.
in D&D
We're never silly in any
are
way.
people silly or
petty,
petty,
No.
and especially when it comes to randomly cute NPC character
magic items
or
And-
magic
yeah.
items. Everyone behaves
That's very
themselves.
Well, that was our magic item of the week. I think it's great. I love it. I want to have one in my next.
I would just have so much anxiety though, knowing that
because he just
it could just
Everyone
die.
just
This
biting
could
their
be the
fingernails
last
off.
time.
Yeah, that's terrible.
It's terrifying.
Would the
I didn't-
DM have
sorry.
the stomach? Like if I was DMing and they
It's like
rolled
the party
a 1,
mascot. Yeah.
I'd be like,
It's gone.
I'm so sorry.
I would relish in that. I would hope they
You
would
gotta
roll
have
a
the
1
teeth.
every
Pluck their
time.
heartstrings. How
I-
dare you?
I
Wait,
like-
sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt
you're
you.
good,
I know you're trying to move on. I do like the give and take though of it can open a lock almost every time, but what is nice about the balance is if it fails, it basically breaks the lock.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good way of balancing that out.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Let's move on to our next item.
Yeah.
Mercy, what have you brought us this week?
So I've brought a monster that I thought was interesting. I found this on Reddit from user Falcodiris. So they are called Arcane Leeches. And they're tiny constructs. And they basically feed off of a character's ability to cast spells and like drain them of their magical ability. It's not as much a monster for you to fight as it is a problem for your wizard or your warlock or whoever to encounter in the world and have to find a way to solve, which I think is very interesting. So they're drawn to creatures that store magical energies within themselves. So spell slots, basic's And each arcane leech can store a 9th level spell's worth of magic in them, and eat about one spell level's worth of magic per 24-hour period. So the longer you've got leeches on you and the more leeches you have, the faster they're draining you. And while attached to a living creature who has spellcasting abilities, the arcane leech saps one first level spell slot away per round attached. Any higher level spell slot affected drops down one spell level per round. A creature who has all of its spell slots removed in this manner drops to 0 hit points.
Whoa.
So you can die.
You can die
from
this.
these, which I think
How
is
long-
interesting.
How long does it take to die from it, roughly speaking?
It depends on your level.
On
Well,
your
yeah,
level.
because it says it can eat one spell's level's worth of magic per 24-hour
I
period.
mean, I guess because the idea is once it drains all the magical vitality out of you. So if you're like a first level wizard, this could kill you almost instantly.
If you're a first level wizard, everything can kill you almost instantly.
You just stub your toe, you've lost half your hit points.
Yeah.
it's
A
rough.
regular leech could kill you almost instantly.
That is not incorrect. Well, I'm a little bit confused here with the wording. Maybe I'm just misreading it. Because it says it can zap one spell level's worth of magic per 24-hour period, but then it says it saps one first level spell per round.
Okay, no. So what that is so it's magic battery, so it has those spells within itself. And then 24 hours later, it eats one of them. So it eats a level worth of spells. So 24 hours later, it only has 8.
Oh, so it doesn't have them stored up anymore. It has room for more.
That's what it seems to be
Okay.
saying.
Oh, battery like something that stores energy, not like.
Like
Yeah,
assault and
not
battery.
punching.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
Okay,
That's what I
that
thought
makes
it
more
meant.
sense. So it can
Awesome.
actually kill you quite quickly then.
Well, yeah.
It depends on how many it's eaten previously,
But-
I suppose.
Does it talk about how you're supposed to get rid of it?
Well, it has vulnerabilities. I mean, it is a creature. It has 1 hit point, right?
Yeah, so
yeah,
you
so
can
you
just
could just flick it off,
Well,
essentially. Especially, you could fire, but, you might die if
The
it's attached
problem
to you.
is under its actions here, where its
Yeah,
action
let's look at
is, or not action, its reaction, burrow. Its
Ooh.
reaction says, when an arcane leech has sapped 9 spell slot levels or has received damage from non-magical fire, they move their full movement speed away and burrow 10 feet.
Wait, if it's got 1 hit point, if it received damage, it's already dead.
Well, I mean, it's got 1 hit point, but it's actually
1d4, so, yeah.
I mean, technically it could have more hit points,
but probably...
that is actually a good thing to bring up. That instance of that reaction probably won't happen very much because
Yeah.
it's very hard. I mean, unless they're being hit by a torch, most sources of fire are magical anyways.
I mean, I will throw
and
it out.
would be enough damage to just kill this, even if it had 4 hit points.
I would throw it out there though. If I, as a player, saw that I had a leech that was making me sick, my first reaction would either be to hold a torch or a coal from the fire against it, because that is generally what you're supposed to do with regular leeches. And I mean, this could probably use some like language tightening here, because a lot of things are left unclear. But I like the
and especially too. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just noticed it has damage vulnerabilities to fire.
Yeah.
So all fire damage is doubled anyways. So it's even more guaranteed to kill it in one hit.
I like the idea that if you get it with fire, you're likely to kill it. However, if you don't, it like burrows all the way into your body.
That's so much worse.
That's horrifying.
And so I like that risk.
I think that this is most likely, like Mercy had mentioned, best used not as an actual encounter that you find and you all roll initiative on it, but as something that one of your party members becomes sick and you're trying to find the cause of it. And unless you have him or her strip down, or they strip down and look for this leech, you're not necessarily going to find what's happening. And so it's almost more of a puzzle for them to solve. And once you do solve it, you burn it out or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a point I actually wanted to bring up. That it's phrased here as if, talking about one round, that if you came into contact this, that you would roll initiative and combat. But that seems like it would be over so quick. They've got 1 hit point. Like, it's not going to take you a long time to get rid of them.
Well, especially too because on its leeching bite, it talks about, or where is it? Where it talks about like multiple leeches draining someone.
Yeah.
Because that brought to me the idea that this isn't so much a creature threat as it is an environmental threat.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
oh, watch out, don't fall down into the pit of leeches. They will just drain you of all magic and you will die.
Especially if there's like 100 of them and each one
needs 9 levels before it will quit. They're going to suck you dry.
And you can deal 1 damage to a few of them, but there's always going to be more of them.
That's where it comes in.
Well, I always like the idea of, I like, Mercy, that you brought this, because it's a monster that's more of a puzzle.
Yeah.
And it could be fun if you had your party walk through a swamp and several of them visually get leeches on them, and maybe you can just flick them away really easily. But you as a DM could roll to see if they notice every single one, and if they don't, if the wizard... Now, you don't want to just be like, haha, one was in your armpit the whole time and now you're dead. Yeah. Sucka. Like, that's an annoying way to DM. But it could be a thing that maybe one of your spellcasters has a leech, so you planted that seed before that you guys got leeches, and now for the next couple days as you guys go,
bring it up later.
Yeah, someone's getting sick, something's off, and they have that chance to recall.
We had done, in a campaign that we've played, there was a character in the caravan who started acting sickly, and he had a shadow that was attacking him slowly over time, and you as the party had to figure out what was going on. You noticed he had the 2 shadows, and you fought it. And that was a more compelling way to present it than just a bunch of shadows show up and attack you. Roll initiative. I think it's sort of similar to that, where suddenly something's going wrong in the party, and they have to themselves, through their own wits, figure out what might this be. Oh, we did get leeches. Could someone still have a leech? Could they have caught a disease? What could be causing this?
Totally.
So I think then there's kind of 2 ways to play this. Either almost like a pit trap, like Onag was saying, where it's like you fall in and then you've only got so many rounds to get them off, or like be rescued because someone like sets them all on fire. Or you cast fireball, like, you good. But
the good old point blank fireball.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, you're on fire, but if you're high enough level, you got enough hit points. But
the leeches are dead, and so are you.
That's the one way to
guarantee
get rid of them.
Anymore. But yeah, basically, like, is it a pit trap where you have to deal with it right now because they're taking a spell slot from you every turn? Or it could be interesting to rework this idea a little bit and make it be a slow burn, so that you start planting that seed as a DM, like, you don't have enough spell slots, like you're feeling drained, something's off, like you try to cast that spell and it's weaker than it should be, you cast it at a level lower, and then they have to solve it like a puzzle, in which case you would definitely need to adjust how long it takes them to absorb spell slots.
I would notice also as well, it does have +5 to its stealth checks.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
It could, depending on how you play, I guess, its intelligence. I mean, it's got
Negative
12. It's got 12 intelligence. So it is probably actively avoiding being found.
Mm-hmm.
It wants to hide from you.
Yeah.
So maybe you start taking off all your clothes and it hides in your clothes. And then you
I totally thought you were
seem-
going to say it hides in your butt.
It
I mean, it could.
And maybe that might not be a good place to hide because
I would
know.
hope that would be a noticeable change.
I
Suddenly,
would notice, like, hold on, something's different.
something is
Something is.
But if you play this as instead of just a leech that grabs onto you and doesn't notice really what's going on around it, you can just flick it
It's
off.
intelligent.
It's more intelligent than that, and it is purposefully tracking you.
Yeah.
It is purposefully hiding from you.
I do think it's odd that it's immune to force damage.
Yeah. Some of this, as far as the just...
That would make it one of the 2 or 3 creatures
Yeah.
in all of D&D that
Yeah.
have any resistance at all to
Right.
force
Now,
damage.
Right.
That could be cool, though, if it was worked into how it's talked about, like a leech. That's annoying, but you can't get rid of it. Like, you try to swat it off or pull it off or cut it, and it's
Seems to be.
incredibly resistant to
Yeah.
those normal kinds of damages. So I like that this is an animal or a beast, really, that sort of targets magic users because you don't always get that kind of thing. And wizards, they cast with intelligence. So this gives the caster a chance to use their intelligence for something that isn't spell related. Or, I mean, it could be, but you have to use your smarts to figure out how to do this. And if it were something like you can't swat it off, you can't pull it off, you can't slice it off.
You have to
I mean,
outthink it.
I mean,
if it's
even-
immune to non-magical damage,
Yeah,
that'd
then
be
you have to
interesting.
figure out a way. But it's also regular spells won't get it off either. It's like stupidly powerful, except you just have to use like a little bit of fire. You know, it's got that.
But it's got to be
one
magic
weakness.
fire, and you
be
gotta
magic.
remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
That
that's
would be,
cool.
Yeah,
I
think
like
that'd
that
be
a
an
lot.
interesting direction to develop the creature.
Mhm.
I think right now it's an interesting concept that could use a bit more refining and developing for sure.
But I mean, I love the idea.
Yeah,
I'm,
I really
I'm glad
enjoy
it exists.
that.
I might use it.
Yeah.
I think it's really
Yeah.
cool.
And I also just hate leeches, so it's just
Yeah.
a really great icky.
I mean, they're the worst,
creature.
definitely.
I hear they're tasty though.
What?
Really? To fish.
Okay.
Two fish.
Okay. Two
Yeah.
fish.
Some people eat leeches.
So wait, when you
Do
say you hear they are tasty to fish, did a fish tell you this?
Well, okay, you guys know that I had a fish for like almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And then our
Did
roommate
you feed it leeches?
No, but I'm sure it would have loved
Okay,
leeches.
you're sure. it
If
would.
I fed Vivian leeches, he would have loved them.
Fair enough.
And my roommate killed him when I went out of town for like 2 days.
What a wonderful story you
Well,
shared.
that got real sad.
Let's move on.
Well, because I was just trying to have a throwaway thing,
Well-
and y'all were like, "Oh, tell me about it."
Oh, really? Defend this thesis.
Oh,
to
defend
Yeah.
this
me.
thesis.
Well,
We'll never
let's
let you
all
get
hope
away.
that Vivian is in fish heaven eating leeches.
That's,
Yeah.
Fish heaven is
Question
leech
mark.
hell. It's an
Fish heaven.
efficient
It's
system.
an efficient system.
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for bringing that this week, Mercy. Let's move on to what Onak has brought us this week.
So, I
got
have
you.
brought a
It looks like here a race.
a player race. It's not hyperlinking in the thing I shared, so I'm going to look at it on my phone if that's okay.
That's perfectly understandable, but you are fired
Okay, good to know. So,
as the CEO of
I
this
have a little
corporation.
preamble.
Do we
Yes.
get health benefits from this corporation?
No.
No, you are.
We actually have
independent
negative health
contractors.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Independent.
We do
okay.
vampirically drain your health.
Yes.
So, all right. So, are you playing a Dragonborn, but you're just not cool enough and you can't quite blend into human society?
Real quick question.
What?
By cool enough, do you mean actually cool enough
Oh,
or
gosh.
Cold-blooded.
cool enough? Like,
We'll
you
go with
just
that one.
Gotta be so cool.
You gotta be
dude.
so cool, man. Are you an Asimar,
How
but
are
you
those
like
different?
want to have wings all the time instead? Well, here I have the Draconic Angel character race for
Oh
you.
my gosh.
Are you an Asimar but want to be edgier?
Do you
And
want to
not
be
fallen Asimar edgy?
even more
dragon
edgy?
edgy.
Exactly. So here, there's this can be found on dndwiki.com under the Draconic Homebrew races for 5th edition. I don't know who posted this. I don't know the website well enough to be able to navigate that. So
It's a wiki, so it gets,
it's a wiki. It could be anyone.
Could be many.
But thanks to whoever did.
Yeah, thanks to
Good
whoever
work,
did.
bud.
Thanks to
Because
the
this
9
gave
people.
me infinite joy reading this. Because
with it.
while I don't, well, we can talk about the mechanics, but you'll see why I think this might be a little bit of a socially mechanically broken race.
Okay.
Kind of a thing. So there's a little stinger quote at the beginning, and in the midst of battle, we all looked to the skies as being with majestic golden wings descended among us, bringing the entire field to a halt in awe. So, physical description. Draconic angels inherit their appearance mostly from their angelic parents. At first glance, they appear to look just like humans, aside from the retractable wings they sport on their back.
Retractable, you
Retractable,
say.
you
Two shreds, you say.
Two shreds, you say. Upon closer inspection, however, most draconic angels will possess a thin sheen of dragon-like scales on parts of their skin. The scales are the same color as their skin, making them difficult to notice without intentionally looking for abnormalities. And they tend not to manifest on the face or upper back. You know, the important places where people will be looking.
Your face, your upper back, the two most looked at places.
So if you're a swimsuit model, Dragon Angel,
Dragon Angel is perfect for you.
then you're gonna.
Oh, well then yeah.
Then you're gonna show off your scales.
For some reason, when you said swimsuit model, I only thought of a one-piece swimsuit that would cover everything else.
Well, I mean, that's nice to know that that's what your brain goes to.
I literally thought of like a swim team, like Olympic sport level swimsuit.
Ah, yes.
Just the face and the upper
And
back.
then you've got the goggles and the hat.
And then you got the goggles and the
covering
hat.
you up completely.
But yeah, so anyways, in rare cases, draconic angels may have dragon-like eyes similar to their parents, which, as everyone knows in D&D descriptions of races, when they say in rare cases, that means every time. A leathery patch, draconic angel may have dragon-like eyes, a leathery patch of skin, or even short stub of a tail growing from their lower back. The wings appear to be made of feathers.
Is that where the tail goes?
That is where the tail goes. The lower back.
Not the rear, or perhaps the tailbone. Just sort of the small of the back.
Dragons don't have tailbones, so
Oh.
I do.
everyone knows that.
It's just pure ass. You have to get rid of the bone.
Oh no.
Continue.
Having inherited, so their wings, appearing to be made of feathers, are actually composed of small dragon scales.
Looking much like feathers. Of course.
Looking like feathers.
Yes.
I don't know how that will visually be represented.
Fair enough.
There are no pictures on this wiki, so it's hard to tell. Having inherited their appearance from their angelic side, draconic angels retain their youthful or mid-aged appearance for the entirety of their lives, never growing visibly old. So, here is the history now. Draconic angels are given birth from the union of an angel of a dragon. Yay. Due to the incompatibilities of mating between angels and dragons, it is necessary for the draconic partner to be an adult or ancient dragon capable of transforming itself. So they've done their homework.
So it has to become humanoid to.
It has to become
get with
humanoid.
an angel.
So
Because angels can't egg mate.
yeah, I don't know. Because it also only.
Do angels lay eggs? Have we looked into this?
They
don't have
wings.
tailbones. They have pure
And it's not
ass.
unheard of for mammals in general to lay eggs.
I will
so-
throw it out there. I bet an angel could lay eggs if it chose to.
There we go.
Fair enough.
So, and as it goes on to talk about this holy union question mark, it talks about the implication that only the dragon can be the mother, and I find that the interesting thing. Because while in the art, it for the D&D Monster Manual for most angelic beings, in showcases mostly male images, we have multiple instances of female angel characters. I think one of the 9 lords of hell.
Yeah.
One of the lords of the 9 hells used to be an angel, and she is now a devil on the first level of hell, if I remember correctly. But so it's not unheard of that there are female angels. So it's weird that it says the way that this is worded. It only the child is raised by the draconic parent. So it implies that the draconic parent has to be female and the angel has to be male. Apparently, these things have a tab worthy of a society worthy of a society tab, but it's basically the half elf society just kind of expanded to dragons, where it's just like they live amongst their parent that they were born to, and if not, they move away.
So let me get.
That's what society is for dragon angels.
Get this straight. This is like a biologically impossible, incredibly rare holy union. Yet there are still
enough to
There's
have
a
a
society. Like the
Well,
terms
and
of
that's
society.
the thing. Like the society tab goes to talk about how oftentimes they will just live with the draconic parent, and as long as they all haven't inherited the draconic greed for hoarding kind of a thing, they won't clash with their draconic parent and may even just stay in the area for the rest of their existence. I'll give you a hint. The rest of their existence is forever because, as we have discussed, they do not age.
They are just
So
the
they will not
sexiest-
die. They will just be
Also-
perfectly normal-looking people who are sexy
secretly
forever.
dragon angels forever.
Also, to be fair, the first sentence under society is, with the number of Draconic Angels being as small as it is, they have no true society.
Oh,
But then it
okay,
does go
that's
on for
fair.
2 more paragraphs.
Yeah, it goes on to 2 more paragraphs
Yeah.
to talk about
Basically-
how not a society they have.
Basically, there's one thing so far that I've looked at that this race succeeds on, which is being an airbrush on the side of a van. Like that's the number one success this race has of
Also-
a
A dragon
half
angel.
half angel woman who's like just posing for you.
I'm gonna throw it out. It also succeeds in kind of triggering my like trypophobia stuff because being like
Just the idea of
it
all
has-
those scales everywhere.
well, and not just scales. It has a thin layer of scales just over the top of the skin that you can't see. And my immediate response is,
Just
I'm
to
like,
scratch
you
Just
need to
start
scratch
scratching
them
it
off.
off.
You need to get them off.
Get
You need
all
to get
these scales.
like an
It's sort of
exfoliator.
sort of a Eustace
So-
from
I was about to say,
Narnia.
that is what Aslan would have you do.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
would scratch them all off.
So, now let's get to the statistics of
All
this
right, let's
creature.
move into the mechanics.
So, this creature has a full-blown cornucopia of subraces,
oh no.
Oh.
as
my
as
gosh.
is typical of anything on D&D Wiki.
Oh, because all the different kinds of dragons.
Yeah, because all the different kinds of dragons. So your base race is your ability score. Your charisma increases by 2. Your inherent lifespan. You inherit your lifespan from your draconic parent.
Mm.
And although you reach physical maturity at around the age of 30, you do not reach adulthood until about the age of 100. And your lifespan is similar to that of true dragons, at times reaching over 3,000 years old.
So you do die.
That's-
So you do die, but you will look. That is
You'll
the
look hot
longest.
beyond forever.
That is the longest age. So if you had a level 20 druid, dragon angel
Oh gosh.
player, they would live to 30,000 years old.
Guys, is Keanu Reeves?
Keanu Reeves
A
is
dragon
definitely a
angel.
dragon angel.
I think he is.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
That does
That
make
makes
perfect.
sense.
He's lived forever. He's
This was
never
why he was
aged.
so uncomfortable during Bram Stoker's Dracula,
There-
because he wasn't that comfortable with the source material because he's an angel.
He didn't feel.
Yeah.
So, you know. And it wasn't that they were trying to make him do a British accent when he has no training
But
in
in Bram
that.
Stoker's Dracula, his name, son of the dragon.
Ah, there you go.
Oh,
Oh, there we go.
Cool.
Maybe he was
That being said, I
uncomfortable.
love Keanu Reeves and everything he has ever been in, including Bram Stoker's Dracula. It is
Yeah,
a
next
fantastic
week we'll have
film.
Keanu Reeves on the podcast.
Yeah.
everyone.
We wish.
I think it's interesting. You get a little bit of the. If you haven't seen the video about the concept of Born Sexy yesterday, I highly recommend that you do. But with the idea of they reach physical maturity at 30, but they're not considered like
Adults for
mentally
another
adults.
70 years.
To me, that kind of
Ugh.
spells
That's
the like
yummy.
Born Sexy yesterday.
Yeah.
Which that basic idea is like it happens a lot in sci-fi movies,
Mhm.
frequently with like
Where-
AI women,
Yeah.
where it's like women that are born and they are technically considered adults on every
They're
level.
physically an adult.
Physically an adult, and the idea is that they were like given an AI mind, but they still behave kind of like a child. That's just such a weird thing to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a weird specific thing to
I
have.
I would be interested to know what their intention was with that, because it is an odd detail.
I think it's just to be a self-insert perfect player character that is everything you've ever dreamed of being young and cool forever, and I'm a dragon and an angel. I'm everything.
But I
think
also
that's
look
most of
human
it.
enough to be like.
But I
yeah,
also look
sexy.
human enough to pass because, ew, gross, dragonborn.
Yeah, I don't want to look like a dragon. I did notice, I was looking down through some of the stat block here, and I saw just for a brief moment, you can't discern color and darkness, only shades of gray, which is a normal line in dark vision.
Yeah.
But I read it just as you can't discern color, and I thought that would have been an interesting balance for the class. They're all colorblind.
That they are all always
That's their one.
colorblind.
You know, you always say that every character has a deep flaw, and the the stronger the flaw, the more compelling the character.
Mhm.
I like that the strongest flaw that this character has is, I mean, but they can't see color.
Maybe just
Which is sad because they can't see the beautiful color of their own
Their
scales.
own iridescent scales.
it could just mean that they're not racist though. Like
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
just like
They don't. They can't discern
But
color.
only in darkness.
only in darkness.
In with the lights off, we're all the same color
There you
as
go,
the
there you
Court
go.
Oh
the
my
Bard.
god.
But yeah, so continuing on, so they do have 60 feet of dark vision as per usual in any race in 5th
Except
edition.
for, the ones we don't like. I
Except
guess.
for the
The
ones
three.
that don't. Except for the 3 races that don't have dark vision.
Well, I mean, I feel that.
They have wings.
I can see in the dark.
They have wings, so they have a level 1 starting flight speed, which is a.
But they're retractable wings, so in case
You
you,
don't
don't
ha-
want people to notice.
I mean,
because
you don't have to deal with wings all the time.
Mhm.
You still want to look sexy without them.
That line gets me. I'm like, massive angelic dragon wings are like, where do they retract?
Where do they
They-
go?
No,
Where do
so
they go?
they don't have a stomach. They can't eat food. So
What? Is that a real thing?
No.
Oh my god! I was so excited. I
was
thought their wings folded up into their stomach.
But yeah, that's
I
what
was
I
ready
that was
to
what I was
believe
making up. That they just retract inside of their stomach and just roll up,
It's,
and they're actually hollow.
their
you know?
torso is entirely hollow.
That's how
It's
they're
all
light
hollow.
enough to
It's-
fly.
It's literally for show.
That's
I
how they
think
fly, yeah.
It must that the stem, like the main part of the wing, is like toy lightsaber style, where it like do.
The plastic
or real
tube.
lightsaber style.
Or real lightsaber. They're angel. I mean,
They have lightsaber wings. Why don't they have that? Let's add it to the wiki.
Yeah, add that to. Let's add it to the wiki.
Lightsaber.
Add lightsaber.
but
wings.
if you zoom in, it's not light. It's just a lot of really tiny, shiny scales.
exactly.
really shiny.
Okay. Continue on,
So
Anaki.
we have more.
Yes.
That's not all, ladies and gentlemen. That's not all. So you have a natural flight speed, which is interestingly enough hampered by your armor, which is normal for Aarakocra.
Aarakocra.
Hold on,
Yeah,
let me take that one again. Aarakocra also cannot.
I like that you said, "Let me take it again," and you just said the word. You didn't start the sentence.
Yeah, we're not cutting any of that.
This
so
is a
go on.
non-edited podcast. This goes out.
But
raw.
they also have a level 1 flight speed.
Yep.
And they are hampered by armor they wear, but they are only hampered by heavy armor. They can wear medium and light armor. These can wear light armor or no armor, but if they wear medium armor, it reduces their flight speed by 10 feet. And so I don't know if that distinction is necessary. Maybe the people editing the wiki also felt this was a little too overpowered, and so they needed to scale it back by 10 feet for some reason. But yeah, so they have wings, and then on top of that, draconic survival. Your draconic parent has taught you to survive independently in the wilderness, and you have proficiency in the survival skill. If it wasn't enough, you now have survival skill as well. Languages you can speak, read and write Common and Draconic.
Not celestial.
Yeah, it doesn't mention
'Cause
celestial.
You're raised by your dragon
Raised by your
parents.
And I do
dragon.
But
appreciate
in
that.
D&D, you're
it-
born
that-
speaking
yeah,
that.
You're
like,
always born speaking
Half
any
elves
language.
can speak Elvish,
Elven and
even if they
Common.
weren't.
Yeah.
You can speak Orcish.
Yeah. So now we get into the sub races. If you thought a natural flying speed, dark vision, and a free skill wasn't enough,
free proficiency in survival, which is like a pretty useful
yeah,
skill.
survival is very used. So there's multiple sub races. There's the brass dragon sub race: bronze, copper, silver, gold, green. It's very interesting because, especially in the history, it talks about how it is usually a metallic dragon, but green dragons at a certain level can also
Shapeshift.
shapeshift. Why a green dragon would mate with an angel, we don't know. But
I mean,
Wouldn't mate with
you're
an
both
angel.
out on the town.
you're both
you
out
know,
of town.
both
You're
of you-
disguised as humans.
disguising humans. You think you're getting a human to sleep with you, and then we're both magical ancient beings. What? This is embarrassing.
Oh,
This is
guys,
embarrassing.
This is such a good rom-com.
No, I don't like this idea.
Yes, so
Dragon
there's an angel
angel.
and there's a dragon, and you see them separately, and
Oh,
they're like,
there's an angel and a dragon. It's okay.
screw it, not a rom-com. This is a sitcom.
This is a sitcom now, and it's their lives in this.
My
like,
parents
neighboring
are a
apartment.
dragon and an
My
angel.
parents are. All right.
And I am going through my teens.
And I hate all of them.
All
I'm
right.
going
They
through
don't
my teens,
understand
and I'm
me.
47.
They're-
He made fun of my snub tail
that comes out of the bottom of my back.
because I have a pure ass.
Now that I'm going through puberty, my wings will randomly untract and I'll hit people.
Oh gosh.
It's embarrassing.
It's when they're aroused. The wings shoot out.
What occurs first.
That would actually be a very funny bit to do in like a mystical creature high school thing, where it's just the winged character, boing, and then the feathers always go straight up.
I had a character in a campaign I ran once who they were an Aarakocra, and they were playing sort of like almost a cockatiel. And they had it whenever they were excited or scared or anxious. Their feathers on their head would go.
It just sticks straight up. All right, so
I need to finish my rom-com.
Sorry. I thought we were done.
No.
Continue.
What's the rom-com?
So the rom-com, like you have these ancient beings, you have, see, now I feel like a kind of tool because I'm.
No, I want to hear it. Go.
Okay.
Rom-com.
So, but like you have the dragon and you have the angel, and they're like, oh man, and they have their like Jasmine moment from Aladdin where they're like, I'm so tired of living
my normal
the
life.
exquisite life that I live as this amazing
I want to be a
being.
servant.
I want to be like a normal person for a
Yeah.
day. So they each like pretend to be humans and they go down to earth for like a couple days to just have their regular lives as humans, and they each fall in love with each other, but then they're like, oh man, but I can't because they're like a human.
I can't reveal it.
I can't reveal who I am. And they like don't know, but you know, and you're like, no, but you actually probably really can't, because one of you's a dragon and one of you's an angel. It's
one of you
even
is
worse.
a green dragon who are selfish bastards.
Yes.
So on the note,
And so then in the third act, when they
for those of you who can't see, I am staring at Bean
Hi, welcome.
incredulously.
Welcome to Rom-Com Pitch Podcast. This is what we do now.
that's all I will ever do.
So, with each of the sub-races comes another ability score increase appropriate. A second one. So, they have 2 charisma, and then depending on your ancestry, you gain, like, brass dragons gain strength by +1, bronze get dexterity by 1, copper gets intelligence, silver, constitution, and gold get wisdom. And green dragon, here's the kicker, get an additional charisma. So if you are a green dragon angel, you can get +3 charisma.
To start.
The
day you're born.
Which, from the day you're born, you get +3 charisma.
If you're like a beautiful, sexy dragon angel, like, I get it. Like,
Yeah, it
you're
makes
pretty
sense.
But this is when
charismatic.
you're a green dragon. And they're
That
ugly.
makes the least sense.
Like,
of
you
any
should
of them.
see.
Actually, yeah.
Look at the pictures of green dragons in the monster movie.
They are
But-
stanky dragons.
Well, it's
If
probably-
you look at like DeviantArt's idea of what green dragons look like when they
That's-
turn into humans,
That's fair.
they're very sexy. I don't actually recommend
Don't
doing
do
this.
that.
Please don't look
no,
it up.
But the green dragons in the monster manual look far more likely to say, you're in my swamp, than to say, hi,
Hey, let's have an angel
have
baby.
an angel baby together.
I feel like this would have been like a lot easier to conceptualize if it was like an angel and a dragonborn that are already humanoid and
Yeah.
presumably don't lay eggs.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
No.
though.
Dragonborn.
I think dragonborn lay eggs.
I think they do.
Is this canonical?
Mm.
There's a lot of very confusing information about dragonborn. Are they descendant of dragons, or did dragons make them?
Who knows?
I think there is a definitive answer, but I can't be bothered to look it up.
I want to throw it out. Hiccup. I want to throw it out there. You're probably not going to edit.
We'll
that.
never edit any of those out.
Okay.
We'll edit ours out. But our guests will never be edited.
I think it could be a really just awesome thing to play if you are a green. What is this? Draconic Angel?
Yeah, Draconic
Yeah,
Angel.
Draconic
If you're
Angel.
a green dragon Draconic Angel glamour bard.
Oh, no.
Ooh.
And you're just all of the charisma and like I am literally the sexiest, most amazing thing to behold, and I put a spell upon everyone that sees me. That would just be really spell on you. That would just be a beautifully fun. Like I think we should do a campaign where we are each a Draconic Angel.
No.
That is just super.
I
OP.
reject this idea.
Okay.
I don't want to do that.
You can DM it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
And like I'll be a glamour bard and you can be a druid and we're just all the most
Someone's gotta
overpowered
be-
stupid characters.
I was looking into paladins of redemption
Yeah.
from Xanathar's Guide. They have the ability to give themselves +5 to persuasion checks
Mm-hmm.
as their channel divinity.
Yeah.
And with some of their higher level abilities, and paladins already being charisma based, getting +3 charisma from your race is pretty strong.
I would like to submit a better campaign
All right,
idea.
Oh,
let's do a
okay.
better one.
I don't know what's better than the
two
one
of
I
us
just
are
picked.
dragons and 2 of us are angels, but we're all pretending to be human.
Oh.
And you don't know which is which, and it's a dating sim.
Yes, and the goal is
Wait
to
a
make
minute.
a
To
dragon
make a draconic angel,
baby.
so you can't accidentally bang another dragon or something.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Rom-Com Pitches podcast. Sorry we took that break there. Now we're back. This is the idea.
Mercy, I know that you're having trouble dating, but you don't have to make every single one of our campaigns a dating sim. You could just ask us for advice. We all play D&D. I'm sure we're really great at dating advice.
Is there anything else you want to mention?
So
on
there is one more thing.
Draconic
Each of the
Angel?
dragons also bring the damage resistance of their primary element.
Just free damage.
So while actually statistically speaking, this isn't that overpowered, but it's mostly the level 1 flight that makes it kind of ridiculous. But it's really the thing we've been openly mocking this entire time of the being able to pass as a standard, basically beautiful human, and also having all of the cool draconic powers that you would want.
No downside.
It's like being a tiefling, but like no one can be racist against you.
But your
because-
horns are retractable.
But your horns are retractable,
And
and,
also-
your tail wraps up around your legs.
And also,
so-
when your horns come out, instead of running in fear from the demon man, everyone goes, "How beautiful!"
yeah.
Because they're angel wings.
Well, I mean, to be fair, how often do people play tieflings like with goat legs? Like that's in there as like a potential thing, but like
Yeah.
I never have.
Mhm.
I've never put tieflings with goat.
Yeah, if you ever have, leave it in the comments.
legs.
Because I want to
Every
know if
one
that's
of my
a thing people
tieflings has
actually
10
do.
goat legs, okay? I don't know what you're talking about.
That's terrible.
I don't like that.
All over.
That's awful.
Retractable.
My tieflings, I was gonna say, have retractable goat legs for horns, and you
I
took
beat you
from
to
me.
it, Bean. Gotcha.
But yeah, so that's my contribution. Draconic Angels, the born sexy yesterday anime girls of D&D.
D&D homebrew. It's beautiful. I'm sure we'll have many more of those as the podcast.
As they continue.
It's a popular subtype.
Yeah.
Great. Let's move on to our final one. We'll probably, just because we're doing this as our spec podcast episode, we'll
Yeah.
probably breeze through this one.
Yeah,
because this
I
would
plan
take
on
a
it.
while.
Yeah.
So let's sort of just
hit the
give
points
an
that you wanna-
overview.
Yeah, I
Discuss.
mean, I mostly just want to go
So yeah,
over.
Bean, what have you brought us?
So this is a whole class. So it is several pages, and this is not a new thing in the community. I mean, I think this was like
It's a
3
couple-
or 4
couple
years
years
ago,
ago.
a while ago.
Do you know where it's from?
Old Spice.
Oh, Old Spice themselves.
Old Spice. Now, I don't think it is for D&D specifically. I think it is just sort of a generic role-playing character.
It looks
I
from
think
the
it
layout
is. I think it is
purposefully
for 5th
aping
edition.
5th edition.
I mean, it
in
does
the
ape-
layout.
It apes 5th edition,
Yeah.
but it also says skills and then stuff that are not really
Yeah.
skills you can have.
Yeah, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, this was a joke that
And
they
it-
did
so
for like a
It's like
marketing
the Super
campaign.
Bowl.
Yeah, like the Super
something.
Bowl marketing
Anyway,
campaign.
so
a
I
couple
want to
years ago.
submit right here and now. I love this. It's a joke. If I were a DM and someone came to me and said, I want to play this class, I would immediately say no, because it is the most ridiculously, beautifully overpowered thing. And here's the thing is, I know that this part is going to be a little bit difficult. This thing is a little bit on the sexist side, but there are a few things.
What's it called? What's the name of
So
it?
it is the gentleman class.
Okay.
So
Is it possible that we can just do a real simple redress on it and just call it the gentle person class?
we could
And it could be of any. You could be any
Yeah,
gender
we
and
could
take
call
the
it
gentle, person class.
I mean, it never says that they
you must
are
be male.
men.
Yeah.
It says role gentlemen are the life of the party, always ready to lend their services or a good joke to better the cause of their companions. So one thing that I actually really love about this idea is it could have been way more chauvinistic than it actually is, but the idea is just that like gentlemen are there to just sort of like be really nice companions for everyone. It's just sort of about being a cool dude. One thing that does kind of bother me is it says gentleman's code. The gentleman will never attack a member of the opposite sex first. This is just common knowledge. We're surprised that we even had to point this out. What right-minded player would ever think that a gentleman would attack a member of the opposite sex first? If you thought that, then you should probably play the foolish or dummy class instead of gentleman. Haha. I think that I like the idea though of a code of saying I never attack first to anyone. Like maybe someone that is non-hostile, hostile.
Non-hostile. They don't let anyone stay in their home.
This is not a hostel. This is an Airbnb. Damn it. But what if it had just said like the gentleman would never attack someone he considers his or her equal, like, or their equal, just
or even a lesser.
Yeah, like just someone. Now, I don't like the idea of lesser because it is implying that it's
with the
man.
gender. Yeah.
With the gender, but you know, it does make that weird kind of specific thing. And
I have to stop you right here.
Yeah.
That is a Cerberus golden retriever puppy?
Yes, it is a
Yeah, I
in the
did
art.
notice
It's
it
a
has
three-headed
three
golden
heads.
retriever puppy.
Yes. I do love the art. He's wearing a tuxedo with like a ridiculous pauldron, and then he has a sword, and the sword becomes a bouquet of roses.
The sword
my
is holding it with its hand.
Gosh, I did not realize that was a pauldron. This whole time I was like, so there are 3 dogs, and then he's got like 3 hats like stacked on top of each
He's
other.
got 3 buckets.
But they're just kind of balanced.
It's a really terrible pauldron.
I was like, how
Yeah, there you go.
got it. Got it.
Anyway, what I want to talk about is that whoever made this either does know a lot about D&D and just went crazy, or like someone at Old Spice was just tasked with doing this, and the guy whose idea, I like to imagine that someone who loves D&D at Old Spice was like, yo, like, let's do our own class. And then someone else was like, excellent, Jimmy, write it up. And they're like, oh, but I know about D&D. And then someone else that just doesn't really know
Had to
anything
do
about
it.
D&D wrote about it.
Okay.
Because here's the class skills. Gentlemen's class skills are acrobatics, appraise, bluff, climb, craft, diplomacy, disguise, escape artist, handle animal, not animal handling.
No, handle animal.
Handle animal, intimidate, knowledge, parentheses geography, knowledge, parentheses nobility, linguistics, perform profession, ride, sense motive, sleight of hand, stealth, survival, and swim.
The swim skill.
So, actually, that is probably more of a
hold
callback to 3.5
Yeah,
and stuff
now
like
a
that.
lot
I
of
think
these
4
are more.
maybe also.
Yeah.
4 had a lot of those.
I
Like,
do like the
swim was
idea-
a separate skill in 3.5.
I do like the idea that handle animal is not how well you deal with animals, but it's a magical creature.
Yes.
The handle animal. And it has a
Three-headed
handle.
puppy.
Yeah, and that's why he
If-
can carry this puppy so
If the
easily.
lock crawler from earlier had a handle on the back, he
Uh-huh.
would be able to use it because he has the skill handle animal.
Yes. Any animal with a handle,
With a handle,
you can use.
Correct.
Anyway, they talk about like he can use simple weapons. He has fancy clothes, and basically,
I don't want to skip over this.
Yeah.
He is proficient in simple weapons, martial weapons, and would totally be proficient with all laser beam based weapons if they were around.
he's also proficient with light armor. See, that's
Yeah.
why I love this.
It's very well.
It's so good.
It's a good, like, fun read.
Yeah, and it's fun, like, to joke about it. The gentleman would never be caught dead or alive wearing anything other than his gentleman uniform or a fine dark silken jacket and trousers over a pristine and starched white tunic and neckline, bird or otherwise. He also wears nice shoes. And basically, when the gentleman wears his uniform, the armor class is 10 plus his dexterity modifier plus his charisma modifier.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
It
actually.
adds the fact
Like,
that
it's
you
OP,
are
but it's
so
cool.
it's so OP. But I like the idea that you are just so suave and good looking that someone's like, oh, I can't damage his suit though, and they like
would
don't go
ruin it.
attack
Or
you.
Can you get blood on that tie?
I would push back against it. Only one element of charisma is persuasion. There's
Mhm.
also intimidation.
Yeah,
They're so intimidated by how put together you look
that they're like
that they know,
"Whoa."
I feel so dressed down.
They just-
now.
Yeah.
They
I
just
don't
feel
belong.
inferior next to you.
Oh, good.
That's very reminiscent of, I think, an early swashbuckler ability. You can, I think, in the monster manual, swashbucklers say that they can add their charisma to their armor class, but just the monster manual version of it. The actual the actual player class can't do that. They add it to their initiative. So that could be like a callback to
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
older version of that ability.
And
I would love for Swashbuckler's armor class to be, well, I mean, they're probably going to be high dex also, but like I would love for there
They
to
would be absolutely
Well,
insane.
what I'm saying is I wish that there was a subclass where you could use charisma instead of dex.
That would be cool.
Like a warlock, or those classes where they always die. So like
You know, like a warlock.
like
or
a
whatever.
wizard,
Dead
like anyone who
class.
uses magic, they die so early.
But I mean, the idea of your charisma being in your AC is a fun thing to play with.
Exactly, I like
It is
it.
not practical
No.
at all, but it's a fun thing to play with.
Yeah, it's a fun concept.
In the fancy clothes thing, I really like this. The gentleman may also wear a pair of tinted eyeglasses to add +1 to his armor class, for some reason, and see better in the sun if he wants, but only if he wants. The gentleman.
Wait.
if he doesn't want to,
No one
What?
can force you to wear.
No one can force you to see better, or no one can force you to wear it in the sun.
It's like to see better.
I think it means to see better.
He can, at will, while wearing them, make them either help him see better or not. His eyes do the weird, like, cyborg focusing thing.
Yes. I think, but this is the important part. The gentleman suffers a -4 to perception checks and attack rolls in dim light when wearing tinted glasses.
So you can't wear your sunglasses
So they
at night.
punish you if you wear them like inside or at night. And I
Because
appreciate
that's a
that.
douche move.
It is a douche move.
It's not a gentleman's move.
No, and see, I like that because they're not saying like a total dude bro. It's like, no, you're a gentleman, and that means certain things. And I do like that.
That's fun.
Everything else about what this class stands for is kind of crazy.
I mean, there's a lot of, from what I've been reading through, there's a lot of Old Spice references.
Yeah. Well, and so
in the ability.
if we look at the table of like what you get at different levels and stuff, this is where you get into like this guy is just throwing stuff. But at level 1, your special abilities, you have a catchphrase and a punchline.
Yeah.
At level 2, you get strong convictions. At level 3, you get something dumb. You just get something dumb. Most classes getting something really, you get something like this every other level or so. This is like at every single level, you get some
Something.
kind of new ability.
Yeah.
Like, you get after you, but see, at level 5, you get I'm on a horse and a bachelor's in marketing. But one of my favorite things, you get pleasurable smells. You get, at level 9, you get biceps.
I like at 11th level the wolf dog ability.
You just get wolf dog.
Well, I want to read it to you real quick. At 11th level, the gentleman gains the ability to transform into a wolf dog.
Yes.
And obtains all the creature abilities of a wolf. The only difference is this particular wolf can talk and ace any difficult business situation.
This is why it's so good.
It's very good. I would recommend everyone check it out, at least for to read
just
it.
for the fun of
that
it.
image of the wolf dog is wonderful.
Yeah, and he has a little
He's
collar
wearing the
that lets him talk.
sunglasses.
I want to see what something dumb is.
Yeah.
The gentleman possesses some amazing powers. This is not one of them. Starting at 3rd level, once per session, the gentleman may change one thing in the game that has no effect on actual gameplay, and the GM must allow it.
So
if
just
that's
like-
confusing,
He gets one shenanigans die.
here are some
per
examples. The
session.
gentleman may put clown shoes on a party member, turn a troll's hands into hard-shelled tacos. That would affect
That would
gameplay.
definitely affect gameplay.
Turn all plants a beige color. These effects, but see, something dumb. That is your 3rd level ability, and
to
you
just,
can just
enact
To
your
be God?
deity's will upon the world
once
around
per
you.
session you can be like, nah, man, this troll's hands are tacos, and if the GM allows it, then you can be like, oh, but he can't pick up his weapon now
He's got tacos.
because he has taco hands.
does
and
say
I just
his
the
weapons,
GM
his
has
weapons
to
are,
allow it.
are shredded lettuce now.
Yeah. But it does say that it cannot affect actual game.
Yeah, but see, then we have to say what
What actually does that.
Because-
That's why this isn't a real
Yeah,
class.
and anyway, I do love, like, everything about it, but every single one of these skills, like biceps, at 9th level, the gentleman gains serious bicep muscles.
No.
Whenever his biceps are visibly flexed, he gains +5 on all charisma checks.
No.
That's so much.
He
That's
gains.
very good.
He gains
a
+5
god,
on
yeah.
trombone
I think-
performance.
I think someone could you can make this a deity NPC.
That would be really
wait,
funny.
Wait, hold up. That's exactly what I was about to say. I think to end off the discussion of this class, we need to talk about its 20th level skill, which
Oh,
is
boy.
being of pure energy.
Oh no.
At 20th level, the gentleman ascends to a higher plane of existence, becoming a being of pure energy. The gentleman loses all skills, attributes, and abilities. Notice that it does not say excluding this one, so this doesn't work mechanically, but it's fine. The gentleman may privately communicate with the GM to make anything explode at will. That's the capstone, folks.
See, he no longer exists. It's just every now and then as you play something, like he's just sort of an invisible Tim the Enchanter that just goes around. Here's the thing, though. I think that so much of this talks about stuff that, in my opinion, isn't what being a gentleman is about. Like having biceps or all kinds of stuff like that. And I think it could be actually really fun.
I mean, they're just not level 9 gentlemen.
Well, but
Oh, yeah.
but I think that is a little bit unfair because to me, and if we say gentle person, I mean, there's got to be another
Yeah.
a suave
Nobility.
The suavester.
a suave buckler.
The suave buckler. All right, this is going to be how we kind of end the episode
Yes.
off then. If you can make a suave buckler
Yeah.
class homebrew based on the ideas of the gentleman's class, but not entrenched in sexism.
Yeah, and I mean, because I just don't like this idea that, like, oh, you have to be ripped or, like, like, you can totally be a gentleman or, you know, or whatever your equivalent of that kind of person is, and you don't have to have a lot of these, but I like the idea of, like, I take a bullet for you, I am a helpful person, I'm the life of a party. You can have all those things without having all the other, like, but you
Baggage.
gotta be an alpha male. Like,
Yeah,
let's
exactly.
get rid of that
I mean,
part.
I personally would argue that's just what bards are, the life of the party, helping everyone out, always sacrificing
Yeah, this
brothers.
is basically like
You-
bard, swashbuckler, and paladin kind of just
Yes.
crunched
But-
together.
I mean,
Listeners, if you can make a suave buckler homebrew class, we will review it on this show.
100%. The one stipulation is you must keep the wolf dog ability.
The wolf dog ability is a must.
You have to have it in there.
Unnegotiable.
You can reflavor it however you want.
You can fix it when whatever, but it has to be in there. If we don't see wolf dog, we're not reviewing it.
We probably will still review it. We'll just be disappointed.
But isn't that worse?
Yeah.
We're disappointed in you. You need to know that.
But please try to disappoint us. We'd be so excited if someone made a suave buckler.
That's a good way to address our listener base.
Yes.
First thing.
No, we want you to know we're not mad. We're just disappointed. And I think that's how we're going to end the episode here.
Is that our end tag?
That's
our tag.
Always.
We're
We're
not
not mad. We're just disappointed in your home.
This
in
is
your
the
home
D&D
brews.
home
I
brews.
think it should be. I'm committed.
I love it. Thank you all for listening today here at the Copper Fox Tavern. We will continue searching through these eldritch tomes for new homebrews to review.
And I mean, feel free to submit your own.
Yeah.
Or if you know any cool ones that you think we should review, like, please comment it.
Comment below. Let us know what we should be looking at next. We'll be back next week with another 4 homebrews to talk about. And until then,
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
all right, thanks. See you next week.
Thanks, Thomas.